Hello and welcome to the weekly outlook video by Adam Woods for BOAFX Trading Signal Solutions. I'm going to start by looking through the calendar, what news events are happening, which ones are likely to be trading, and then we'll move on to the charts and go through the charts as well. Okay, so as you can see there, first alert we got in red there, tier 1 data is German IFO business climate. The euro at the moment has pulled back for a bit. We are expecting this to come in very slightly softer. The pressure is on the euro at the moment, and I'm expecting it to continue down next week. Okay, so we'll just be looking for this to put pressure on the trades that we're already in the euro. Okay, on Tuesday we've got US dollar core durable goods. This does tend to move the market. Is expected to come in slightly better. Okay, again this could pull down those majors such as the euro, so we'll be looking at those for either for entry points or just to bulk up on the trades that we've got going. CB consumer confidence there on the US dollar as well at 3 p.m. Again expected to be slightly better, so again same sort of effect as the core durable goods. Okay, moving through to Wednesday. We've got a fairly good event there on the New Zealand dollar. ANZ business confidence. Again, there is pressure on the New Zealand dollar. Had a poor GDP the other day, and we've also got the RBNZ rate statement coming out at 9 p.m. as well. So, and the official cash rate. Not expecting that to change, but the RBNZ, we are expecting the RBNZ to talk the currency down again. So I'm looking for a fall in that New Zealand dollar again next week. Canadian dollar BOC Governor Pires speaks, not really looking for any immediate trade there. We did have data come out on the Canadian last week, didn't really affect the currency pair, US dollar Canadian very much. Not expecting anything there really. Thursday we've got the Euro German prelim CPI. Okay, this one could well be quite an important alert though, coming in at 0.1%. So any drops in the CPI data is going to put pressure on that euro. We've also got advanced GDP quarter on quarter. This is actually expected to fall on the US dollar, and unemployment claims as well. And then we've got Fed Chair Yellen speaks in the afternoon. But most importantly, with this US dollar data is going back to the Wednesdays, the FOMC statement and the federal funds rate and official cash rate. Not expecting the federal funds rate, the official cash rate to change, but that FOMC statement is going to be important. What we're looking for is for them to either drop the considerable time sentence from their keeping low rates, indicating that they're going to raise rates sooner, or if they keep that sentence in there, then we're probably going to see a correction in the markets where the US dollar has shown a side of strength. So we'll keep an eye on those. Friday is quite a busy day on Friday. There's quite a lot of data coming out. But the key events really are PPI quarter on quarter on Aussie dollar. Looking for the Aussie to eventually ride up at the moment. I want to say at 9,000 by the end of the year. But as there is a floor there at 8.6, which I'm expecting it to hit first. So keep an eye on that. Won't be looking for immediate entries on the Aussie on new highs, but I will be looking for pullback entries. Possibly new lows. Monetary policy, Japanese yen, they're coming out quite thick and fast at the moment. The governor of the BOJ did state that he's not worried about the foreign exchange rate at the moment, and that they could be doing further QE. Okay, so if that's the case, I think it is. We're going to see this yen weaken again against the stronger currencies such as the US dollar. CPI flash estimate on euro. This is quite a big alert year on year. Expected to come in at 0.4. If it does come in slightly higher than expected, or as expected, we could see that euro rally for a period of time. However, if it comes in slightly lower, which I think it may well do, then we could well see that euro really sort of drop down. If it comes in at 0.2, we're going to see a big drop in that euro on Friday. 1:30, we got GDP on the Canadian. Again, not really looking to trade the Canadian at the moment until we get more confirmation on direction. Okay, let's go through to the charts. Okay, so let's start off with the Aussie dollar. the Aussie dollar, US dollar. Not a great deal of data out on this next week, but we have got PPI reading out coming out on the Friday, so at 1:30 a.m. What I'm expecting to see from the Aussie really is we had this triangle pattern on the 4-hour chart that it kind of looked like it was going to break out of, and then it kind of dipped back in, came back down to a previous area of support and resistance there. If we take down to an hourly chart, you can see there is a bit of a triangle in there as well, which it is actually still inside of at the moment. Let me just draw some lines up on there. Okay, I'm still expecting the Aussie dollar to be at this 9,000 level by the end of the year. However, I don't think the downside's quite finished yet. I think there is going to be a little bit more pressure on it over the coming couple of weeks. I'm still going to be looking for it to get in full buys, but down at the much lower areas. I think we've got a floor on this at about 8.6. So anywhere between sort of 8.6 and 8.7 is where I'm going to be looking to take buy entries. Okay, so not just yet, but we can see where that previous low is, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. Okay, so any sort of data that comes out, i.e. the PPI, that could push it down is going to give us that helping hand there. Okay, so let's go over to the euro. There's always a fair bit of data coming out on the euro. The most important one is going to be we've got the German prelim CPI, which is expected to be slightly weaker. We've got a fair bit of US data coming out as well. We've got the FOMC on the Wednesday night, which is going to help, which is probably going to put a bit of strength into the US dollar and help pull this euro down. But obviously, the most important one is CPI year on year, which is expected to come in at 0.4, slightly higher. If that comes in lower than expected, we're really going to see this euro start to fall. Okay. At the moment, we've had this bit of a pattern there which starts to pull back on this downward trend from the middle of last week after the drop from the 12840 area. We could still get pullbacks to around about the 127. But by the end of the week, I'm expecting this to start to be back down at that 126, even the 125 area. Overall, I've got a long-term goal of 121 on this. Okay, so we've still got a way to fall. We're just going to watch those pullbacks, try and get in on highs at the moment. The pound is starting to look quite interesting now. We had this reversal pattern, the head and shoulders. We spotted this back here. It's nearly fulfilled, though it hasn't dropped as quite as short as what we'd hoped. This is where we want to take buy entries, so we're kind of got to try and find a way to get into this for buys next week. So I'm going to be using the calendar to pinpoint those data areas, which are basically going to be US driven next week. So every time there's an alert that comes out which shows strength in the US dollar, it's going to give us an opportunity to take buy positions on the pound. Okay, so I'm looking for the pound next week. I'm looking for the euro. And it's going to be things like the FOMC, it's going to be things like the CB consumer confidence on Tuesday, the core durable goods on the US on Tuesday. These are all opportunities where we could get a push down on the pound and get an opportunity to get in for a buy. Anywhere above the 16,000 level, I don't think it's going to drop any further than the 16,000 next week. So these old pivot points, areas like 16039, 16067, okay. Okay, moving on, the other one we've got interest on calendar is the New Zealand dollar next week. We did have a breakout pattern of this rising pennant pattern, which we spoke about in the live room. We've also had this breakout of that there, and it started to pull back. Did actually take a sell entry on this at that pivot point at 7870 for a sell. Okay, just yesterday afternoon. Not saying it's finished on its pullback. It could well come back up to this area, but locked in on that anyway, so going to ride that throughout the week. But we have got the RBNZ rate statement at 9 PM on Wednesday, and the official cash rate. Okay, the RBNZ still saying that this currency is too high, so I'm still expected this to be talked down. And don't forget, the Prime Minister gave that Goldilocks price of 65 cents to the dollar. Okay, that's over 1,000 pips away, so we could well see this fall a fair bit further yet before it starts to find its floor. So, although we've had a huge drop already of over 1,000 pips, it looks like we could see much further drop, and be looking at much bigger time frames to find that area. As you can see there, 65 cents is this spot here, around about back in 2010, middle of 2009. Okay, so they're the key events really that I'm going to be looking out for next week, and the key currencies that I'm going to be looking to trade. It's not going to be just single trades. It could be looking at multiple ones. So keep an eye out on the emails and those of you that are in the live room on the prices that we're going to be looking out for. Okay, thanks for watching, and I hope you can make some pips next week.